So to start, my sister Vicky is extremely judgmental. When she and my brother-in-law Tom found out that their son Joe was gay, this was a few years ago, they vowed to kick him out the moment he turned 18. Well, a few weeks ago, his 18th birthday came around, and true to their word, Tom woke Joe up at midnight and threw him out of the house with nothing but the backpack Joe had packed. Joe then had to walk for an hour in the rain to get to my house across town. At around 1:15 a.m, I was woken by my doorbell ringing. When I answered, he gave me the rundown and asked if he could stay with me while he got on his feet, and I obviously said yes. About 2 days later, Vicky texted the family group chat trying to see if anyone knew where Joe had gone. Joe had blocked both of their numbers. Apparently, them kicking Joe out like that was a heat-of-the-moment decision that they deeply regret. I asked Joe if he wanted her to know where he was, and he said that he didn't want her to have anything to do with him. I just sent a generic "I haven't seen him" to the group chat. Well, somehow, don't ask me how, I don't know, Vicky and Tom found out that Joe was staying with me and put me on blast to the whole family for lying to Vicky when she was desperate to get her son back. Everyone but Joe is against me on this, which has me wondering, am I the idiot? Heat of the moment, my flat butt. They timed kicking him out to the second after he turned 18, thereby immunising them from legal liability. After warning and threatening Joe in advance, the whole damn travesty was premeditated. The only opinion here that matters is Joe's, so unequivocally not the idiot. Everything else is homophobia enabling noise. Big thumbs up, OP. Also, 2 days later, it took them 2 days to realise a heat-of-the-moment decision. BS. Someone asked about their son or called them out and they're trying to save face. I can't believe the entire family is against OP here. They all sound like unredeemable people, and thank goodness this poor kid has one decent family member. It's ridiculous that crap like this still happens just because someone is gay. Right? I don't know why they'd bother lying after all that time. Honestly, I'm wondering if, with many idiots believing gay is a choice, they expect him to just agree to stop being gay when he saw they were really kicking him out. Now that he didn't and is gone and they're blocked, they're shocked and want to act like it was nothing, discipline or some BS. Definitely the nephew needs somewhere safe, and his parents clearly aren't that. He's 18 and he gets to decide what they have access to with him now. I'm sure they had this vision in mind. They'd kick him out, he'd spend a few nights roughing it on the streets, he'd come crawling back begging their forgiveness for his choice to be gay. When they hadn't gotten the satisfaction of him demeaning himself after 48 hours, they realised it wasn't going to their plan. Scare him straight becomes, oh no, we've lost our son. Since the blast came on a group chat, I strongly urge you to set the record straight. Tell everyone they have told their nephew he'd be kicked out of their home as soon as he turned 18, even though he's still in school. True to their word, they entered his bedroom at midnight on his birthday to execute their plan. In the middle of the night, he was made to leave with only the clothes on his back and a small backpack. They executed a cruel and calculated decision that was years in the planning. Good luck, OP. You are a wonderful aunt and human being. My 28 male wife, 27, is pregnant with our first baby, and I'm so thrilled to be a father. We recently had some scans and found out that it's a girl. We agreed that we wouldn't talk about names until we knew the gender, so of course, on our way home from the gynecologist, we immediately started discussing. We've discussed this a little before and agreed that we both have veto power. I suggested my all-time favourite name, Anna. My wife suggested Kayleigh, C-A-E-L-E-I-G, pronounced Kayleigh, and yes, she spelt it out. I vetoed it. She suggested another name, Riley, R-Y-L-E-I-G, Riley, and again she did spell it out. I vetoed it and suggested Riley spelt the normal way. She refused. Then she suggested Novalyn. I vetoed, suggested Nora as an alternative. She again refused. This continued several times until she snapped at me, calling me unreasonable for vetoing all her picks. Finally she said, "What's the point in talking about it if you veto all my choices? You're a controlling idiot." I responded, "Maybe if you pick something normal we might get somewhere, but you won't even try to compromise." She looked really hurt and we drove the rest of the way home in silence. Now I'm wondering if I'm in the wrong for vetoing her picks and for what I said to her. Am I the idiot? How about broccoli? Jesus. Not the idiot, you're doing your daughter a favour by vetoing these names. People should stop naming their children tragedies, Targhedeigs, and consider that they will be adults one day. I'm a teacher. The things some of these creative parents name their kids, like, I totally understand your parents' baby name book had like 5 names in it and wanting something a bit different, but like normal. Do you have any idea how badly some of them get teased for their names? You can have a normal name like Michael and it's still LOL ask him if he likes it or Michael motorcycle. This crap is compounded when you have to go through life named after a shape. And no, I'm not kidding. Then they go on field trips and get sad because they can't get a keychain with their name. I'm sorry, Breaksley, maybe next time. Yeah, the kids would need therapy. THERAHPEIGH for those names. My friend is in med school and the rural Appalachian hospital she worked at had a Names of Shame board in the locker room. The winner by far was Jukmn, JKMN. It's pronounced like Noel because they took out the L out of that section of the alphabet, so it's literally no L. I'm impressed that someone dumb enough to name a child like that knows that much of the alphabet. I have a relatively common name with an odd spelling and I hate it. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. Constantly having to explain it when I go to a new doctor's office, the DMV, ordering a bloody coffee. It's a never-ending nightmare conversation starter. Not to mention that TSA and airport security have it out for me the second they see it on my passport. Do not name your kids something weird because you're setting them up for this life. Your wife must remember that she's naming a person, not just a baby. Update. After some tough conversations, we decided to look for names that are uncommon but actually have history. I used my TPI to convince her that we needed a name that is at least spelled like it sounds. Not entirely untrue, lol. Anyway, we eventually decided on Rhea Annalise as our working first choice, with Mercy, Freya, and Eloise as our backups. Thanks, y'all. My 34 female sister, Kim, 24, is staying with me and my husband for 6 months. She took a job across the country but couldn't find any apartments in our area that did a short-term lease after hers ended in April. She's paying us rent, though it's a lot cheaper as the only space that's exclusively hers is her bedroom, and she has to obviously share the rest of the house. We don't have a rental agreement in place. As this was just a guest room, it's not something we would rent out anyway, so if she upped and moved tomorrow, it's not as if we'd be out of any money. It's just a way for her to have a stable place to crash until she moves. In addition to our 2 kids, my husband and I also have a puppy, Merlin. We adopted him back in November and have gone through all the steps to get him trained. He's not our first dog. Now, Kim is not a dog person. She's not allergic, there's no trauma associated. We didn't even have one growing up. Ever since we were kids, she never liked dogs. Kim was aware of Merlin when she moved in and they've coexisted fine. Merlin doesn't even go upstairs where her room is, and I think he can sense she's not a fan, so he mostly steers clear of her. We adopted Merlin from a rescue and were told the other 2 puppies in the litter were also adopted out. Then we got a text this week from the woman who runs the rescue, asking if we knew anyone who wanted a dog. Merlin's sister, Sprinkles, was adopted shortly after he was, but returned as the family didn't anticipate the breed's needs. They're hyperactive dogs who need lots of room to run, along with multiple walks a day. So after talking about it with my husband and kids, along with visiting Sprinkles at her foster home, we agreed we wanted to adopt her. We told Kim, and the first word out of her mouth was, no. I gave her a weird look and she said she tolerates Merlin, but doesn't want another dog running around the house. I told her we planned on doing the same thing with Sprinkles as Merlin. She'll stay on the ground level. Plus, as my husband and I will be training her after work, she won't even be inside a lot when my sister is. Kim said if we wanted another dog, we should wait until she moved out. Honestly, we were planning on getting a companion for Merlin at one point, just not this soon. Kim never asked about our plans when she moved in, but admittedly we never told her this as we didn't think it would come up. At the end of the day, we signed the paperwork and are picking Sprinkles up tomorrow. My sister is angry and says this isn't fair, as she has nowhere else to go and she hates dogs. Are we wrong for bringing a dog in when we know how she feels? Not the idiot. She didn't quite come to you and express her concern or even try to explain her feelings. She blatantly said no, as if she owned the house. It isn't your house. It isn't her rules. Adopt that pup. I root for you and your husband. Adopting the pup is a noble and kind-hearted thing to do. If she doesn't like it, she can leave. That no was hilarious. Beggars choosers, sis. She's a guest in your home, paying reduced rent for her room and access to the entire home. She tolerates Merlin. LOL, you are tolerating her living in your home and have made concessions for her to be comfortable, and she's acting a bit too entitled. This is your home, period. She doesn't have to like dogs, but for her to expect you to live your life around her again sounds entitled. No reason for her to be angry. Unpopular opinion, but you are the idiot. You have every right, but it would be kind to wait. Since she's paying rent, it would be nice to consider her. If she were freeloading, it would be different, but it sounds like she's pitching in and plans to be out in a timely fashion. There's no real way to anticipate a new dog's quirks and training struggles. Unlike your current one, he may not avoid your sister. It's an unnerving and unpleasant situation for someone who doesn't want to be around dogs. Essentially, it sounds like she's going to be trapped for 6 months. Maybe she'll be lucky and can find somewhere else to go, but it sounds like she doesn't have options at the moment. I yelled at my stepdad for signing us up for a father-daughter dance that he knew I didn't want to attend. I'd already said I didn't want to go to the dance. It's being run through my music club. I even told my music teacher that I didn't want to be on the list to get mail about it. She understood. But then my stepdad heard about it from a friend whose young daughter is in the same music school, so he decided he would ignore what I wanted and sign us both up for it. He's been in my life since I was 8, and he's wanted to be given a dad thing ever since. Even though I was old enough when my dad died to know who he was and to have made sure dad was only for him, and is a special title to me that nobody else can hold. Even though I've rejected all his attempts to really become my dad like he wanted. He wanted to adopt me and change my name. He wanted me to write it so he could get it tattooed on his body. He wanted me to dedicate Father's Day to him. He wanted to be my dad, something he's pointed out a lot. He's begged me to call him Dad, and I always say we can be close, but I'll never call him Dad because the title is special for my dad. He said he wanted to be that special to me, that I am his only kid, and he thinks he's a good enough guy to be my only dad. My mom always sides with him and asks why I can't let him be a dad too, like it's something I should want or do just because he wants it. He came home the other day and announced he has signed us up for the dance. He said there was no way he would let this opportunity pass and that I could do this one thing for him even if I didn't want to because it would be fun. I lost it and yelled at him, saying he couldn't make me go and he could go screw himself and his father-daughter dance and get it through his head that he would never be my father. My mom yelled at me for yelling at him. He yelled at me for yelling at him. They said it was not my place and didn't care how mad I was, yelling was not the answer. I told them speaking calmly and clearly doesn't help, so what else should I do? He said I'm supposed to love him and accept him. I now get to miss a bunch of stuff for yelling and only get to keep my laptop and internet access because of school. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. So stepfather has an issue with respecting your boundaries. Your mom has an issue acknowledging your boundaries, and you have to love and accept him just because they said so? No, that's not how it works. Relationships can't be forced. Don't go to that dance and enable his behavior, OP. For real, I have yet to see screaming "love me" at someone ever working out. You're not getting anywhere with yelling. You're going to lose energy and get banned from doing crap. Time to grey rock. Can't cancel the dance? Just don't go. Are you going to be in the area? Just don't dance. Sit down, don't move, go to the bathroom, whatever. I feel so bad for you living with 2 delusional idiots. Tell him no decent male role model teaches a girl that she has to love a man or accept that man as having a right to the relationship he has unilaterally decided he wants with her, just because he behaves like a nice guy. Tell him that by saying, I get to be your dad because I want it and I've been good, he is no better than the incels who insist, you have to give me a chance to be your boyfriend because I'm a nice guy and if you don't, I get to whine and stalk you and throw tantrums and set you up on 4 dates until you do. Maybe that'll get through to him, or at least to your mom. My son Loren is a tween and graduating from grammar school next month. He asked if he could rent a tux on the last day as a joke. I thought it was an odd request and had to sit on it for several days. He usually wears shorts and shirts, and sometimes I have to pick out all of his clothes, from underwear to socks, and dress him. He'd literally wear the same outfit all week if he could. He's not the life of the party and has a very few close friends. I decided he couldn't because he doesn't understand the attention that it would draw to him and could potentially turn into something embarrassing and follow him into middle school. It just seems too much. I told him I'd buy him a short-sleeved dress shirt so he could wear any of my ties. He said he didn't want to do that. He wants to wear a tux. He thinks it'll be funny. I explained that it's possible that some people won't think it's funny and you might regret it. I feel bad about it. My son thinks I'm just an idiot. You are the idiot. Don't assume kids will bully him just because you would have. He's a tween and understands what kind of attention he asks for with a tux. Kids wear all sorts of weird stuff on the last day of school. Let your kid pick his own clothes, man. He's not a toddler and he's not you. Ironically, the compromise that OP suggests is more likely to get the kid bullied because it's not clear whether or not it's a joke. In contrast, the full tux is clearly a joke and most kids would find it hilarious. Had a friend wear monk robes on the last day of middle school. Everyone thought it was hilarious except the teachers. Their frustration with it only made it that much better though. He went into high school as a legend. I'm going to chime in because I have a kid who also loves to dress fancy. He got invited to a birthday party the other day and he wore a full three-piece suit. Mind you, he's in the 8th grade and he just received the three-piece suit for his own birthday. The party was all boys and they all dressed like boys in athletic shorts and t-shirts, but my kid was in this three-piece suit. I was nervous about him wearing the get-up, but he wore that suit confidently and pulled it off. When I picked him up, he said that everyone said he was the best dressed there. My kid is also quieter and has only a few friends I know of. He's not super social, but the way these kids embraced him was heartwarming. I was so glad I didn't burst his bubble by saying he shouldn't wear the suit, and instead I told him that he looked great. You need to let your kid express themselves however they feel. This might be a great chance for him to stand out and make a memorable moment out of this event. OP, it's a tuxedo, the height of cool and classy. It's James Bond, not a clown suit.